Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Welcome to our masterclass this afternoon. Um, I hope you will learn something from us this afternoon in this masterclass. Our topic for today is strategies for reducing math anxiety in middle school learners. Before we commence, I would just like to tell you something about myself. My name is Dina. I am from South Africa. I have been in education for 28 years. I've been teaching learners from kindergarten straight through to grade 12. I'm an experienced math as well as a language teacher. I have authored various books for the South African curriculum called the CAPS curriculum, including maths, languages, and life textbooks for our learners. I have been involved in many organizations, especially also Math Olympiads, where I have orchestrated some Olympiads for South Africa and for our district. I've also been involved in mathletics, which is part of the World Education Games, which takes place usually around about March every year, where I actually involve all my learners from grade R to grade 7. We used to do the mathletics games on tablets, laptops. Children would book into the IT room so that they could play, and they really thoroughly enjoyed it. Currently, I'm a teacher or a lecturer at the IIE, the Independent Institute for Education at Varsity College, where I lecture all years on different didactic modules. That includes first years, second years, third years, fourth years, and postgraduate students. Right, so without further ado, let's move on. Please, just some protocol, be respectful to others when you are here. Just watch your cameras. Post in the chat forum if you are prompted to do so, or if you would like to contribute to something interesting. And I hope we create a positive and pleasant experience here today. Our learning outcomes for today is to define and explain what math anxiety is, to be able to identify the signs of anxiety in the math classroom, to analyze the impact of math anxiety on maths in the classroom, as well as for math assessments, and to implement effective strategies to reduce math anxiety with learners, specifically in middle school. And last but not least, I would like you as teachers, everybody listening in today, please, I would really appreciate if you can learn something from today, and afterwards use some of the information discussed here that you have can be able to create a supportive environment for your learners. Use peer tutoring or peer teaching as a strategy for your learners. Growth mindset, how to develop a growth mindset, what is it? So we're going to discuss that a little bit later on. So yes, this is what I would like you to take away from today's meeting. Good. If you can please scan the QR code, I would like you to just quickly answer these two questions. So the first question is, at what age do you think math anxiety actually becomes pronounced, not just evident, but pronounced in assessment specifically? At what age does it become pronounced? And then also the second question, what percentage of learners in totality worldwide, a global phenomena, actually experience math anxiety at some stage in their lives? If you can quickly just answer that for me. Just really let me know if you can't access the link or the QR code. Then we will post it in the chat forum for you. Just let me know if you can't access the link. Okay, so Ash, okay, 100%. Let's just post this link in the chat forum for you. But I'm not sure if that is the link that you're supposed to get. I'm not sure if IT can maybe just support us here with how to get the link into the chat forum. If you can't join there, I see that many of you can join there. Fantastic. Right, I see some say B, some say yes, 1B, 2B. I see some answers here. Fantastic. 1B, 2B. Right, if you can't see the link or can't access the link, here are the two questions. You can maybe just post them in the chat forum for us, but I see some of you did access the link, so excellent. Grade 1 to 5, some say B. Hello, Mark. Hello, Ritu. Ashley says A. There's another B for grade 6 to 8, A. B says Mark. Tundari says grade 6 to 8. 1A, 2C. Right. 1C, 2C. Interesting to see what teachers come up with. 1B, 2C. Great. So, in fact, I would actually say for number 1, it's not incorrect to say any of those, A, B, or C. But what was clearly evident in the research that teachers and educators did on math anxiety per se, is that they saw that in grade 6 to 8, it actually becomes very pronounced. And I think the reason for this, and I did do some research on it as well, is the fact that our learners in grade 6 to 8, they become more aware of themselves. They become more aware of pressure. They become more aware of competition. And I think this is where it becomes evident that they are involved, in, or that they feel anxious when they start writing mathematics or in the maths classroom. So yes, even though from any age, even from grade 1, learners can experience math anxiety. And then what percentage of learners experience at least some anxiety, and this is a worldwide phenomenon, as I said before, is number C. 20 to 25% of learners, and we're going to watch a video on this just now. So yes, many learners actually experience this, or 20 to 25% of learners in any age group actually experience math anxiety at some point in their lives. Good. So what is math anxiety? I would just quickly like us to go through a definition of math anxiety. According to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, math anxiety can be described as an apprehensiveness and tension associated with the performance of the arithmetic, very old word, but it's still very relevant, mathematics and other mathematical tasks, often thought to be related to test anxiety, but it can also be mathematical anxiety in the classroom. And this undermines the development of mathematical skills. It frequently causes distress, disrupts the use of working memory, something that we're going to look at now. It comes up a few times. It is been mentioned in many of the videos that we're going to watch. They can't focus, negatively achieve their scores. This is another thing that culminates, is the fact that learners, when they write tests and they're anxious, it actually affects their performance, and potentially that results in a dislike and avoidance for all math-related tasks, so total avoidance of math. It's seen on all students of all ages, regardless of their actual math abilities, and is considered more prevalent in females than males. Right, so I would like you to listen to the following lecturer, Mr. Jeff Wright, and what he's actually discussing you with these students, and I would listen carefully to what these students say. And these are older students already, which is a clear indication of the fact that they actually experience it still very late into their education career.
No. So what's, I mean, so for you guys, what are,
You just get like nervous.
nervousness?
Yeah, you're just like
losing your short-term memory. Where have you heard that before? All right, you lose your short-term memory. What else?
Basic algebra.
Basic algebra. Basic algebra just goes. Basic algebra disappears. And what is it about that? I mean, it's stuff that you know that's really obvious. You know, A times B is B times A, but it disappears.
Yeah, sine and cosine disappears.
Okay, sines and cosines, and and derivatives and the chain rule and all that stuff. So you lose the rules, right? Okay, so not just basic algebra, but you lose the rules altogether.
second guess. Yeah, do you?
Confidence.
You think about one thing and then you realize you think about
Confidence goes. You second guess yourself. What else? Okay, you can't focus. So you can't focus. Time. You lose all track of time, doesn't it? It's like you go in, you take the exam, and time's just gone. Suddenly an hour's gone by, and you can't. Okay, so time goes.
Also, you don't know who you reread the same question. Like I'll reread the question, like not get it. Just have to reread it.
You read it and you read it and you read it again. This is the thing we were talking about. This is where you lose a short-term memory. You know, you go into a little bit of a panic mode, and you read the question, and you lose it because you don't have the wherewithal to keep it in your mind while you're trying to finish the question. Forget about trying to find what the answer is. So some of the no.
Can you relate to this? I would like you to also comment. We will come to why it's more prevalent in females. We're going to come to that still. I see there was a question from Mr. Finnescape. We will come to that just now. It's got to do with bias and role models and still prejudices in classrooms. That's still prevalent. So we will come to that just now shortly. So yes, signs and symptoms of the fact that learners have math anxiety. It's clear in the video that we can see that these students experience this firsthand. Lack of focus, time goes, they second guess themselves, they lose confidence. Yes, lack of confidence. And when all of these things happen, then learners struggle to use their working memory. So the working memory goes. So let's see, what are the signs and symptoms of this in the younger learners? Not so much in the older learners. It might happen with the girls, maybe, where they show their emotions, crying or displaying of nervousness, unusual sweating, nausea, avoiding math in totality. And this is also very prevalent in schools and in learners, that they actually don't want to do math. They don't want to do their math homework. They don't want to learn for mathematics. Displaying fear in solving math problems because they're unsure about themselves, lack of confidence. As I said before, working memory is affected, lack of focus, and lack of confidence. These are signs and symptoms that we have to look out for, and I'm sure that many of our teachers here have seen this before, where they actually have experienced this firsthand in their classrooms, even themselves maybe as teachers when you were at school, you might have experienced this. Right. So here is a short activity. I would like you to a quick answer, one answer in the chat forum. Let me know, what do you think is the importance of maths in our daily lives? Why is it so important in daily life? Why is maths so important in our daily lives? Logical and critical thinking is increased. Excellent. We use it everywhere. Good. It supports us with solving problems. Fantastic. Problem solving again. Yes. I love the answers that I see here. Excellent. Right, so let's look at why it is so important. It's an integral part of everyday activities from the day that we are born. Yes, and Daria, I like that answer with financial transactions, day-to-day activities. From the day that learners are born, babies are born, they sort things. They play with containers in the bath. They play with a ball. They start realizing the shapes of things. They look at these shapes. They sort colors, they sort shapes. This is the beginning of data. This is the beginning of data handling that they're going to be exposed to later on in life. Everything we do, when you do a recipe, when you cook, when you drive somewhere, when you get up, when you dress, there's certain permutations involved. So we need to look at, combinations of things that we have. So yes. I see, yes, Surasa has got their hand up here for me.
Yes, hi Dina.
Yes.
Yeah, there's actually some problem with the screen when you're sharing. We can see some black boxes. So could you just do a small thing? Can you just stop screen sharing?
Okay.
Yeah, and reshare and like try resharing it. And when you click on share your screen, on the right hand side, you will see this option, optimize for video. Can you see that?
Sorry, just say again.
Yeah, optimize for video. It's a checkbox that you'll see on the right hand side.
On the right hand side, yes.
Yes, can you see it? Optimize for video clip.
On the right hand side.
Yeah, basically click on share again.
Yes.
And when you share again, when you click on that, you see the entire window, right? Which shows the list of screens to share.
Yes.
And on the right hand side, under layouts, can you see there are two options? Share sound, and then next is optimize for video clip.
Yes.
Yeah, so your optimize for video clip must be checked. So just untick it.
Okay, so must I untick it?
Yeah, untick it, and then you can share your
Okay.
screen.
I'm so sorry about that.
No
To my
worries.
audience here, apologies for that glitch here. Can we continue? Right, it looks like we can continue. So math is an integral part of our everyday lives. It's essential for our future. Proficiency in math opens up job opportunities. Math enhances our problem-solving skills. It's the foundation of all STEM subjects: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It all relates to the STEM subjects. And very important is the fact that when math skills are consistently used, and if we can use our math skills in our profession that we're going to follow one day, a good salary leads to a better and healthier lifestyle. It's just the one is directly correlated to the other one. So if you have good skills and you can get a good job, that will also lead to a better and a healthier lifestyle one day. Right. So let's move on. Why learners develop math anxiety? So let's look at the reasons why they develop. Teaching strategies to learners. Many times our teaching strategies, yes, we do make an effort to have teaching strategies in place, but are they appealing to the learner sitting in front of us? So are we making sure that these learners are actually benefiting from the types of teaching strategies? Are we using visual for those learners who like pictures and graphs and images? Are we providing for those who like to watch videos and listen to us and explain to others and hear what others have to say? Are we providing for this? Are we doing our best to provide for these learners? Previous traumatic experiences and math assessments can lead to fear of failure. So previous failures can lead to learners not wanting to do assessments anymore, or do their homework, or explain something in the classroom. It's a perception that math is only for above average learners, and this can also happen because of maybe favoritism in the classroom, where teachers actually, that they are paying more attention to the learners who know the answers because they need to move on with the curriculum, or that certain learners just have this perception, maybe a low confidence, self-confidence, and that creates this thing that they think that only certain learners can do mathematics. Pressure, a very, very relevant one, is the fact that there's pressure from parents. If the parents are successful, they want their learners to be their child to be successful. Self-inflicted pressure, personality traits that creates this thing that the learner wants to perform, can create unnecessary things. And yes, you asked the question about stereotyping, or that boys are better at math. It may be that role models at home are not there, female role models, so girls don't always have a female role model that can show them, or that maybe that boys at home, the perception is there that boys are better at maths, the same in the classroom. So there's still a lot of bias and stereotyping when it comes to this. Neurological or biological issues, a tendency to be nervous. In this age group for middle school, these learners, their hormones change. So this can create problems with them feeling anxious or nervous or conscious. And this can create unnecessary tension in the classroom as well. Competition between siblings and peers. The oldest brother or the oldest sister, they're good at mathematics, so the tendency is to expect the same from the rest of the family members, or the rest of the girls and boys in the household. Right, so another quick activity. I know that some teachers have said to me, and even those students in my classroom have told me, ma'am, that we have actually experienced math anxiety before in our lives. So if you can't use the QR code, I will just quickly do the link for you. Just want to see if I can. I can give the link to you here. Not sure if you will be able to get this link. If IT can just help me with the link as well, because right, can you see the link? Can you access the link? If IT can just help me with the link as I've shared it with you, because I see from my side I can't get the actual link. I tried to copy it, but it then shows a Zoom Sarasa link here. A lot, yes. Okay, math anxiety during school time. If you can maybe just let me know, did you experience any math anxiety at school? What did you do? What did your teachers do? How did you mitigate your math anxiety when you were at school? I skipped math classes. And I think a lot of people, it's a total avoidance. It's a total avoidance of your mathematical classroom to actually get out of the situation that you are in. Right, so what did you do to be able to actually exam fear? Yes. What did you do, or what did your teachers, how did your teachers help you? Did they actually help you to overcome your math anxiety? That's the other question I would like to hear from you. Right, so the next video, I want you to focus on what the narrator says here, the perceptions that can make a huge difference to how we experience math and math achievement. Listen what she's got to say. Teachers aggravated my fear with punishment. Yes, in our days, definitely punishment was a huge issue when it came to thinking clearly and being able to progress in your mathematics. Every day of my school career, I experienced math anxiety, avoided practicing it because I thought I was not capable. And yet I think you are very capable. No assistance from teachers as they weren't inclined to different teaching strategies. Exactly that as well, Ashley. Fantastic. Thank you for those contributions that you've given in the chat. I really appreciate that. Right, so let's listen to, I'm going to just stop it halfway because there's just certain relevant information, but listen what the narrator says here about math and math anxiety.
When French mathematician Laurent Schwartz was in high school, he started to worry that he wasn't smart enough to solve math problems. Maybe you know a similar feeling. You sit down to take a math test, and you feel your heart beat faster, and your palms start to sweat. You get butterflies in your stomach, and you can't concentrate. This phenomenon is called math anxiety, and if it happens to you, you're not alone. Researchers think about 20% of the population suffers from it. Some psychologists even consider it a diagnosable condition. But having mathematical anxiety doesn't necessarily mean you're bad at math. Not even close. Laurent Schwartz went on to win the Fields Medal, the highest award in mathematics. People might think that they're anxious about math because they're bad at it, but it's often the other way around. They're doing poorly in math because they're anxious about it. Some psychologists think that's because math anxiety decreases a cognitive resource called working memory. That's the short-term memory system that helps you organize the information you need to complete a task. Worrying about being able to solve math problems or not doing well on a test eats up working memory, leaving less of it available to tackle the math itself. People can suddenly struggle with even basic math skills like arithmetic that they've otherwise mastered. Academic anxiety certainly isn't limited to math, but it does seem to happen much more frequently and cause more harm in that subject.
Right, so definitely we can see here one of the best mathematicians in the world, Laurent Schwartz, went on to actually obtain the Fields Medal for mathematics. He himself believed that he couldn't do math. He ended up being one of the best mathematicians in the world with developing a theory, distribution theory on mathematics, which is very, very complicated and a very complicated process to work through. Right, so what is the impact of math anxiety on performance? In general, I think that most of us have seen this before. We've observed it in our classrooms. So what is the anxiety that children experience in the classroom? It delays working memory. It leads to self-confidence and learning avoidance. Failure of in tests can lead to fear of writing, and this creates a reciprocal effect. So in other words, it happens over and over again. Anxiety can cause learners to use medication to reduce anxiety. This in itself can be a topic for a whole hour where we can discuss this. And many children, at the end of the day, to be able to cope with mathematics, especially if they want to carry on with for instance, alpha mathematics or applied mathematics or calculus or statistics. So at some stage, they will have to, go and use medication because of the fact that they cannot cope because of the anxiety that has been caused, that is been imprinted in them. So this can also make assessments unreliable because the results do not reflect the true ability of the learner. So anxiety causes learners to lose their focus, lose time, lose track of time, lose working memory, and this all floods the brain, and then the child struggles to do the mathematical problem solving because of what it creates in as a physiological effect. Right, so Dr. Richard Dacre, a cognitive neuroscientist, did some research last year on first-year students, and just some interesting fact here is the fact that they realized that it's not so much the physiological effect that had an effect on their performance. It's rather the fact that these children feel anxious, and because they feel anxious before, during, and after their test writing, this has a severe impact on their performance, and it reduces their marks. So it's not so much the fact that maybe the heart goes, or these palpitations, or breathing problems, or skin that sweats, or hands that sweat. It's more this perception that they are anxious that actually leads to them performing poorly in their mathematics. So if a person can mitigate this, you can just think for yourself how much it can actually help them to excel in the mathematics. Right, so what is needed here? And here, I did some research on a lady called Nalib Siddiqui. She did her dissertation for her master's degree on how teachers who experienced anxiety in their own lives as children, how it actually can help to help learners, because they've had this experience with learners, or as learners themselves, they actually have the capabilities and the empathy and the understanding to work better with children who experience math anxiety. And action plans are needed. And she says this in her dissertation, is that we need to be implementing action strategies and plans that make students feel comfortable in conveying their mathematical knowledge in the classroom. And this brings us to three important teaching strategies to reduce math anxiety in assessments and in the classroom. Teacher preparation, we're all familiar with this one. Peer tutoring, also very familiar. You might have used it before. Developing a growth mindset. So let's look at teacher preparation. Be prepared for your lessons, and I think there's no need for me to say this. We are always preparing well. I know that teachers work hard. They always make sure that they are prepared for classrooms, but this might be something that we're missing for a particular learner in our classrooms when it comes to math anxiety. So what are we doing for these learners? Communicate the objectives with your learners clearly every day. So make sure that they know what mathematical concepts they're going to learn today. What are you going to teach? How are you going to teach it? Maybe they had to go and do some pre-prep at home, do some research relevant to the topic that's going to be discussed in class, which makes them more informed and more confident to actually collaborate when it comes to the mathematical concepts. Use differentiated instructions. Are we making provision for our lower level learners, for our medium or average achievers, and then also our higher achievers? Are we changing our teaching strategies? Are we using different kinds of content or presenting it in different ways to our learners? Another very important thing is be aware of topics or concepts that learners previously have struggled with. If we accept here, or if we intervene and make sure that when a learner struggles with the concept and we actually underpin it, and we make sure that they now understand it before they move on, then we make sure that those links are there so that they can progress and so that you can scaffold the knowledge for them. Ensure that you provide for different learning styles: visual learners, auditory learners, reading and writing learners, and those who like to be kinesthetic by nature. They like to do experiments, they like to walk around, they like to move with groups, they like to discuss. What are we doing to provide for the different learning styles? Right. Use manipulatives. Provide for manipulatives. Concrete objects, visuals, props, science. Make sure that these learners, especially in those age groups, that they are provided with enough manipulatives, because they are still in the concrete phase where they have to see, where they have to count with objects, use it, see it, watch videos on it, analyze graphs, etc. Provide for a social construct, divide them into groups, divide them into pairs where they can discuss. And we're going to come to peer tutoring just now when it comes to social construct. Clear and instant feedback as you move around and learners are discussing a problem or they're discussing certain work that they have to do in the classroom. Are you involved? Are you giving feedback and checking for misperceptions? Are you rectifying those misperceptions before they move on so that they have clarity on that? Right. Very useful tools, Mark. Okay. We will come to the question. I see Ben has got a question about Ritalin. We will come to that just now. Do peer assessments. So do peer assessments. Yes. Pair them up. Let them mark each other's classwork. Short class tests that you write. Let them mark each other's work. This way they get feedback from their peers, and it is not so threatening or overwhelming than when the teacher actually gives them feedback. Teacher and learner reflections. You as a teacher, do you go back at home or after class or after teaching a particular classroom? Do you do reflection? Did I do the best that I could? Did I use enough materials or resources to provide for the learners with this relevant piece of work that I had to teach today? Learner reflection. After an assessment, the learner can go and say, did I learn enough? Did I actually pay attention in the classroom? Did I make sufficient notes? Did I practice this sufficiently at home before the assessment or the formal or formative assessment that they wrote? In group discussions as a strategy effective in the teaching of math, is group discussion? Yes, definitely, because it leads to, we're going to come to peer tutoring just now. Mark says, I use that constantly during lessons. It's such a great tool for growth and development in individual and peer. Create a safe learning environment. How do we create a safe learning environment? By our learners confiding in us and that they can see that you are open for discussion and that you approach them in a way that they can actually relate to you or come to you with questions, and they know that you will be able to support them and help them with their issues that they have. Right, so another thing that we can do in our teacher preparation is make it fun. Ensure that you have quick mental math riddles. This is just a website. One of the many websites that you can go onto is ClassPoint. It's an excellent website that you can use for making math fun. Warm-up activities, manipulatives, using problems to solve, or stories to as a narrative to solve problems, real life stories, gamification, digital tools. In the age and era that we live in, children have so much access to devices and explore different digital tools. Right, so and here's more. As I said, gamification, use of edutech tools. Encourage learners to explain how they get answers, especially in peer groups and in groups or one-on-one or with the teacher. Encourage them to explain, because with this, they actually also start thinking metacognitively. And if they're in a calm environment or in a safe environment, it also helps them to reduce anxiety. So be patient when they explain. Let them explain to others. Do follow-ups to monitor the learner progress. Use positive reinforcement. Give constructive feedback and do sufficient revision. Here's just a few of the websites or apps that learners can go onto. Komodo is a website. This little bear here belongs to the Khan Academy, where teachers can go onto Khanmigo and learners. It's a very interactive website where you can join for free, or you can buy the more advanced versions of it. Brainly is an app that can also help learners on a one-to-one basis, and Dragonbox is an affiliate of Kahoot. And I think many of us are familiar with Kahoot, where we actually use Kahoot for different quizzes to check for understanding. Abhijit says, always start teaching the concept from simple to complex. Very important. Yes, scaffolded. So it's a zone of proximal development where you first start with the easy stuff and then commence to the more difficult concepts. Right, so peer tutoring. What is peer tutoring? This is our next strategy. It's a flexible grouping strategy where teachers or students that excel academically is prepared with a struggling student in order to help. That's just one method of peer tutoring. So what are the advantages or benefits of peer tutoring? Students respond well to other students, to peers. The tutor also learns from teaching the peer, and this leads to metacognitive thinking that is so important when it comes to mathematical thinking, is that working memory that needs to work. So thinking about your thinking helps you to understand how you solve the problem. If the learner needs more time to process, this is a strategy that really works well. It promotes a high level of engagement and participation between learners. It promotes personal care and guidance. And the tutor also learns from the learner that they are tutoring. So let's just quickly listen to the different types of peer tutoring that's available. Here are 3 types or 4 types, but it's not limited to this. And I'm sure that many of you have done this before.
Peer teaching is when one learner with advanced knowledge of a particular topic is designated as the tutor and provides instruction and guidance to a fellow learner who is less familiar with the topic, known as the learner. Peer teaching can take many different forms, such as surrogate teaching. This involves giving learners from a higher year group some teaching responsibility for the lower year groups. Proctoring programs. This involves one-to-one tutoring by learners who are slightly ahead of their peers or who have successfully demonstrated proficiency with the material in the recent past. Cooperative learning. This divides classmates into small groups, with each person in the group responsible for teaching the others, each contributing a unique piece to the group performance on a task. Reciprocal peer tutoring. A more specific version of cooperative learning, it groups classmates into pairs to tutor each other. The main benefits of peer teaching include, but are not limited to, the following. Learners receive a more personalised learning experience. Direct interaction between learners promotes active learning. Learners feel more comfortable and open when interacting with a peer. Peers share a similar vocabulary, allowing for greater understanding. Peer teachers reinforce their own learning by instructing others. Research also includes that peer teaching activities help promote team building, supportive learning networks, greater psychological well-being, social competence, communication skills, higher achievement, and greater productivity in terms of enhanced learning outcomes.
Actually answered one of the questions that was asked in the chat forum, is the fact that, how does the group teaching or how does peer tutoring or group work actually help our learners? So yeah, we've got that peer teaching or peer tutoring brings to it. Right, let's see. It enhances critical thinking skills. It enhances communication skills. It provides learners with self-confidence, which helps reduce that or minimizes the anxiety that learners can experience, because in a previous video we saw that actually they say that self-confidence gives them more freedom to ask questions if they are unsure. They feel more, that they can relate to a peer. It improves problem-solving skills. It develops stronger peer relationships. So if you look at this video and you also look at the benefits here, it is clearly a sign that peer tutoring is definitely something that a person can do in the classroom to reduce anxiety. Right, our last but not least is our third strategy is to develop a growth mindset. A lovely story about a boy here, 18 years old. Please, I want you to focus on what the teacher has to say about what is so important about establishing this, a process where you have this positive engagement with your learners when you explain the mathematics to them?
I was on the edge of failing. I didn't do any of my homework. It was just completely over my head.
18-year-old Nathan is taking advanced placement calculus, but that doesn't mean that math has been easy.
I mean, there are plenty of times when I just flat out say, I can't do it.
Millions of kids struggle with math. At a Learning and Brain conference, researchers and educators shared insights into the causes of math anxiety. That stress that literally uses the brain power needed to learn and solve problems. Math is further complicated by the fact that it is cumulative. One concept builds on the next.
If you miss one piece along the way and you don't have that connection to make, then the next time through, it doesn't quite work and it builds up.
One missing link can stunt a student's math growth. A tutor, a new teacher, a fresh teaching approach can help many kids get back on track.
I've seen students hear the material in a different way and get it. Writing instead of hearing, or getting a handout that presents it in a different way.
Unlike any other subject in school, she says, too often we give kids permission to do poorly in math.
Somehow it's okay not to know math very well, and people confess it so easily.
She says math isn't easy for anyone, even the smartest kids. The key is perseverance.
You can't do well in math without working hard.
When I don't understand something and then finally, and I've been struggling with it for a long time, and then finally it hits, it's an amazing experience.
They're just the point C.
Right.
I'm Stacy DeWitt for Connect with Kids.
Yeah, we can clearly see that the engagement between teacher and learner, the fact that they change their teaching strategies to make provision for learners, this creates a growth mindset that makes the learner feel important, and this makes them positive, which then results in better results when it comes to their mathematical thinking, their doing of their maths, and then writing their assessments as well. Right, so what is a growth mindset? So according to Professor Jo Boaler from the Stanford Graduate School of Education, she says that we need to introduce students to creative, beautiful mathematics that allows them to ask questions that have not been asked, and to think of ideas that go against traditional and imaginary boundaries, so make it interesting. And she goes on to say, when we give students mathematical freedom, everything changes for them. So this was from an article, Cultivating a Growth Mindset in Mathematics. Right, so how can a growth mindset improve learners' attitudes and their perceptions about doing math? It reduces fear of failure by giving them positive feedback, by giving them constructive feedback. It encourages persistence because they start believing in themselves. It improves self-efficacy, that self-regulation that learners need to be able to discipline themselves so that they can do their homework, so that they can learn, so that they can practice. It promotes a positive attitude towards mathematics. It encourages an active learning environment, so they're more likely to seek help as well and engage in active learning activities. Here are just some ideas that I would like to present to you that you can maybe just, take advantage of, or maybe you have used it before. Positive affirmations in your classroom. What do you say to your learners? Are you getting, impatient with them, or are you actually helping the child who struggles? It's okay to find this difficult. Challenging tasks help your brain grow. Or what strategies did you use to solve this problem? How can we improve these strategies? Metacognitive thinking. I noticed you used a new method here. How did this help you? Your hard work paid off if the child did very well in an exam or in an assessment. And it's clear that your dedication is there and it's showing. So we need to look at things that we can say, phrases that we can use to have a positive impact on our learners. And this brings us to the end of my masterclass today. Hopefully we have done this, and I think we did do this. We have succeeded in explaining what math anxiety is. You will now be able to identify the signs of anxiety in the math classroom, analyze the impact of math anxiety, how it affects learners' ability to do math, to explain themselves when they're doing problem solving, and to also write assessments. And also the three relevant strategies that we used here is to be well prepared. Look at how you teach in your classroom. How do you plan? Are you providing for the different learning styles? Peer tutoring. It's a very good way of teaching learners to reduce their math anxiety. Also the same with developing a growth mindset. And I'm sure from this you will take away a supportive environment, how to create a supportive environment in your classroom. The peer tutoring strategies, there's different ones that you can use, that, and you can use the ones relevant to the types of learners you've got in your classroom. It will also differ from grade to grade. Also the different strategies that you can use to create a growth mindset, to enable your learners to believe in themselves so that you reduce anxiety and that they can move forward. Right, and just quick, fast answers and questions. What role can parents and guardians play in helping their children overcome math anxiety? How can teachers integrate activities to reduce anxiety? And what positive statements or affirmations, if you will, can learners use in the classroom? So the parent can provide a supportive environment, positive reinforcement, praise their efforts, like we said just now, the growth mindset, math in daily life. Make them aware of how to use math in daily life, measurements, cooking, shopping, games, everything that we do in everyday life revolves around mathematics, and they need to be aware of this. Math can be fun and it can be part of your life. Also, math homework. How can they help their learners be patient with them and explain, or get a tutor or help them, or sibling can help to explain the math homework. How can teachers help? Flexible assessments, use varied methods, growth mindset, as we discussed, collaborative learning environment where peer tutoring takes place, group work, pairs, a one-on-one, integrate, make it fun, integrate math games and puzzles, and also some positive statements on how to, go about to believe in yourself. Yes, just some examples of what you can use. I can improve my math skills with practice. Making mistakes help me learn and grow. Math challenges help me become a better problem solver. Every math problem is an opportunity to improve. So how can we implement these statements to our learners so that they can start believing in themselves? It's like a mantra where they can, over and over convince themselves that they actually can do it and that they are capable. Right, just some references that you can refer to that was used during my research for this masterclass, that you are more than welcome to also go and refer to. Keep updated on Surasa on Instagram. If you just Google it, you will find Surasa there. And thank you to everyone involved here. And thank you so much for your involvement here. Pleasure, Ritu. And I hope that you have learned something. Yes, Ben, just quickly about Ritalin. I think that is something that a person needs to assess with a psychologist or then a neurologist, doing a thorough assessment on whether Ritalin or Concerta is needed. I don't think I am in the position as a teacher to be able to make that call, but should it be necessary, yes. I think that is something to look at, especially for your ADHD or your ADD learners, but I can't make that call. The call needs to come from a professional psychologist or neurologist. Thank you so much for sharing this with me today. Keep well and all the best for the rest of the year.